Wir stehen hier vor dem größten Helmut Lang Archiv auf wahrscheinlich der ganzen Welt und wir werfen heute einen Blick rein, aber aus der Sicht eines Designers, also wie findet man Inspiration für eine Kollektion. Ich glaube, es gibt wenige Videos, wo ENDYMA in diesem Licht präsentiert wird und ich finde es ganz interessant, euch das mal so aus der Sicht zu zeigen, wie man Inspiration findet. Ich würde sagen, wir gehen rein. Okay, Michael, before going into the actual pieces of your collection, just explain something about the archive. What do you want to do when you started it?
That's actually not at all how I ever thought about it. This archive has always been about riding the wave. We always talk about ENDYMA as being a collection of 80s, 90s and even older clothing, designers or historical stuff or whatever. But it really just started as me being a student at university and reselling stuff. Eventually I became a specialized dealer in some of these designers that we collect today. At some point I had my first appointment with a designer who asked me, so hey, do you do rentals? Okay, sure. And this is at some point 4 years maybe after I started reselling, I was able
Oh, you've been doing it for a long time then?
Yeah,
already.
It's all I've done in my life, and I'm 32. So many years after that, for the first time, we saw a way forward where this can become like a storytelling sort of thing, as opposed to just a shop where we make a quick buck just flipping things.
Yeah.
So this is the primary transition from a shop to an archive to what we have today.
Ja Leute, was natürlich eines der interessantesten Sachen ist, wenn man hier in dem Archiv ist, es gibt natürlich nicht nur Helmut Lang, es gibt auch ganz viele andere Designer und hier ist wirklich ein Raum voll mit Inspiration, super viele Pieces, die alle sehr interessant sind aus verschiedenen Epochen. Wir gehen jetzt einfach mal durch das ganze Archiv hier durch. Ich zeige euch natürlich nicht alles, aber ich zeige euch Sachen, die gerade für uns sehr inspirierend waren. Also du siehst hier, es ist wirklich handpicked alles. Jedes Piece, was sie hier haben, hat auch wirklich eine Geschichte, wo Michael auch wirklich jede einzelne Information darüber weiß. Hier, allein guckt euch mal dieses Fabric an, wie schön das gealtert ist. Es hat schon fast so einen Perlmutt-Schimmer. Auch so kleine Konstruktionsdetails wie das hier. Da findest du einfach sehr viel gute Inspiration hier. Die Jacke ist tatsächlich auch sehr interessant und die hatten wir uns auch beim letzten Mal rausgesucht, weil das ist eine alte D-Squared-Jacke und die hat eine super interessante Schulterkonstruktion. Denn es ist irgendwie eine Mischung aus einer Raglan-Schulter und trotzdem hat es hier so eine Schulter, so ein Abnäher, Schulterabnäher. Das ist definitiv ein Element, das kann ich euch jetzt schon verraten. Das wird bei einigen Bomberjacken vorkommen, die wir jetzt in der neuen Kollektion haben.
We are in the business of supplying fashion designers with ideas. This, of course, can be done in very different ways. Some people will just go online and look at photos of cool things, but there's also something to be said about working with real objects, not just images.
It's not about going into the archive, find a piece that you like and just copy it like one by one. It's about finding techniques that might not be done today or finding finishing methods or materials or just any source of little inspiration that you could implement into New Designs. In unserem Fall war es so, wir sind hier zu viert mit dem ganzen Team gekommen. Wir haben das ganze Archiv auf den Kopf gestellt, haben uns viele Pieces rausgesucht, die wir inspirierend fanden aufgrund von der Verarbeitung, von den Materialien. Und am Ende haben wir quasi eine Sammlung gemacht von den Sachen und Michael hat uns danach die Bilder davon gesendet. Und die dienen jetzt als Inspiration für die kommende Kollektion.
Here we have this Burberry Prorsum jacket designed by Christopher Bailey. This jacket, I really like it. I show it to many people who come to the archive because I think it's a real highlight. On one hand, we have this kind of very Y2K feeling. We have this very short, tiny body with very long and quite wide arms. It's like a very exaggerated silhouette that's very typical of the 2000s. But the basis of the piece is actually World War II pilot jackets. So these particular rounded panels on the sleeves, the details in hard leather, these are details taken from original military pilot jackets. Then, of course, Burberry by Christopher Bailey is all about hardcore detail. So this is kind of the thing they do. Heavy zippers with really large teeth. See, they have all these extra belts. You have a collar that zips up. Then you have a second collar on top of it that has more straps in this kind of leather. This is an idea that Burberry channels inspired by their original trench coats, which also have like very big collars, and they always have a closure system on the neck. I also love this piece because, you know, we often spend a lot of time thinking about 90s design, which is often very simple and conceptual and symbolic. And then this is like the antidote to all this. It's like heavy on detail, heavy on texture, dramatic shape. It's like a very rich experience that feels very 2000s as opposed to 90s.
You know, I think what was really interesting is that it's a really maximalist piece, like you just said, but also you can't just take away any detail because it will make it worse.
Yeah,
So every detail is
balanced,
really considered and balanced, and everything just adds to the value of the piece. That's something that looks like ERD would do it today.
Funny you should say this, because this is not fashion. This is military, or rather this is a French fireman jacket from probably the late 80s or early 90s.
It's leather, right?
It's made from leather, yeah. Like leather has these kind of flame retardant properties that are useful for firefighters. So you have this quite a distinctive arrangement that is like a jacket, but it's kind of long enough to be a coat. And then it has been modified by a previous owner with graphics. This on the back.
Wow.
So, you know, normally I'm not so into stuff that has this kind of like punky graphic type aspect, but I have to say I think this is like really, really well done.
It's done in such a nice way, for sure, yeah.
It's really painted by hand. I love how they framed the graphic also very precisely from top to bottom.
And also the composition of everything is so nice.
Here we also have shoes. Like
This one is so nice. The heel. Harley Davidson. Crazy. We are actually searching right now for like
a very pointy
toe boots, because we want to make women's boots.
Okay.
So this is actually how you find a nice reference.
But okay, so yeah, this stuff is always worth, I think, a look. Like these boots, I think they're like kind of insane.
Absolutely amazing detail over here.
Like this shape also from the front.
Etwas, was letztes Mal auch super interessant war, war auch Designer zu sehen, die heutzutage vielleicht auch gar nicht mehr aktiv sind, weil Michael hat tatsächlich eine sehr große Sammlung an allen möglichen Designern. What I think was really interesting was Sabotage. They are one of the first ones who ever did the pre-distressing, right?
That's correct. This is a Sabotage sweater from 1993. It is the first of its kind that is designed with all this crazy distressing in mind. On the back you have like this kind of branding, which is Sabotage's logo from the early 90s. And then you can also reverse the sweater, which is quite fun. You can basically turn it inside out, and you have a different like fabric and a different kind of graphic on the inside. And there's many versions of these pieces that I think look really cool. And they definitely capture like a very strong energy of this like kind of 90s club wear, like this swagger. Every hoodie that looks like this today could be like Balenciaga, or it could be Raf Simons from the early 2000s. This is the foundation of this idea. This is also something we really like to have here in the archive. We want to find concepts that people relate to today and find early authentic expressions of these concepts.
Is Sabotage still going?
No.
Oh, that's so sad. I feel like they would be really successful today.
You say that, but a lot of the things that they did have been passed on to many other brands also. This is
and you feel like they kind of doing it better, or they're doing it so much that it might not be successful today?
I feel like the meaning seems like meaning can get lost when
I get what you mean. So for most people it would just be another distressed hoodie.
Exactly. I think it's also nice because of the moment in time that it represents.
Absolutely.
It's also worth mentioning that Sabotage, like many of the people who were designing, Sabotage later went on to other brands that did similar things. So, for example, you know, looking at these early Sabotage jackets, this is a kind of a very unusual looking thing, but nowadays we've seen pieces made from such fabrics.
Yeah.
And one brand that this instantly reminds me of is Stone Island
Yeah.
by Massimo Osti, and also CP Company by Massimo Osti. Why does this actually remind us of Stone Island is because the designer of the Sabotage jacket later went on to work at Stone Island
Makes
and
sense.
then actually went on to work at CP Company. And he did these ideas that were his ideas again for other brands that he worked with. This sweater is a hand-knit sweater from a Belgian designer active in the late 90s and early 2000s called Jurgi Persoon. Persoons was quite interested in things that look a bit, even let's say scary, things that look a little bit rough, but also in a very controlled way. The main feature about his line is that everything is made by hand. Maybe like this we're going off topic, but the stuff is really weird and fun. Like here's like a puffer vest.
Oh, I love this puffer vest. It's so
From
cool.
this designer. So you see it's obsessively, fetishistically just made by hand.
Yeah.
This is not the type of garment that needs to be done by hand, but that was like his aesthetic. This is a perfect way to make a brand go bankrupt. You just
For sure it is, yeah.
to spend like 4 or 5 times the amount of time that you normally
At least,
spend
yeah.
to make the same garment. And in fact, yeah, they didn't last very long.
Oh, yeah.
But it's I think they have great storytelling in the pieces. This is like a kind of denim jacket. It's obviously not really a denim jacket. It's sewn on a very fine fabric, and then you have these appliques on top that make it look like denim panels. So it's kind of like a fake denim jacket. It evokes like something familiar, but at the same time looks super different and super strange. What is actually a fashion archive?
What is it for you?
Exactly, like basically I can only speak on our behalf, like our take of a fashion archive is what we aspire to have is a resource for fashion designers that functions a bit like a library where you can borrow items, and through this kind of amplify the work you already have in your mind, like the targets you already have, like a mood board that you bring, a vision that you have for a collection moving forward. You come here and you're like, oh yeah, that's a great way to do a pocket, or that's a nice shape for a sleeve or something, and we help you kind of amplify your existing voice.
Yeah.
Ideally, of course, there's also people who come here and they just copy things one to one, but we'll try to work with everyone, of course.
But yeah, it's really interesting because I think most of the people don't really know that this is the main business, to supply ideas to designers.
So this is our Helmut Lang ready-to-wear room. So this is about 1.3 thousand pieces in here right now, all from Helmut Lang, all between 1986 and 2005. Helmut Lang is a designer who does kind of a lot with very little, I would say. So here we have a t-shirt. It's a very kind of standard idea for Helmut Lang, something that he does again and again. You have like this cut on the elbow that creates like this subtle point of interest. You have the print that's done all over the place. And what I love about Helmut Lang is that there's this, and then there's also this. And these are 4 years apart. And it's a similar piece. As you can see, like it has the cut on the elbow, it has a similar print even, but actually everything about them is different. This coat here is from summer 2000. It's like a big duster sort of coat that on the interior has a bunch of details like a harness.
Oh yeah, that's the same detail from the tank top.
And what I love about these pieces is that, of course, there's something quite interesting about having, like fashion design is inherently extrovert, let's say. It's about communication. And to have such richness of features on the interior of a garment that only the wearer knows that it's there is a bit of a counterintuitive approach that I think is interesting. So you can strap it like a backpack, you can secure it to your body, and most interestingly, you have these things here that you can secure with buttons. And those are a detail taken from original Dutch army coats from the 50s. So when you're riding on your motorcycle, you can secure the coat to your legs so that it doesn't move around when you're in motion. So they started doing it on many other shapes. Then you start seeing it dresses, like here we have a dress. That's really cool. You have the same idea, but is just done like here now. It no longer attaches to the body. It's like this abstract sort of residual function,
Yeah.
where you just have these rectangular straps, and of course pink one as a tank top I think is absolutely amazing. They even did it like as a t-shirt for men, for example.
These probably been like years apart, right?
These are pieces that are, some of them are from the same season, some are years apart.
Yeah.
This is 4 years later, in fact. Funnily enough, since we're looking at this one, you see it has this unusual patchwork combining print, empty fabric and dark fabric to create this weird composition. This originally started as a dress for women, so you see,
I love the dress.
Like it's on the dress, everything is like a construction element. It's like a pocket bag, and the pocket extends even below, like below the dress. Whereas on the men's t-shirt, they kind of flattened this construction into just shapes. So somehow you see an idea evolve from one thing to another in a somehow interesting way. It's a bit almost like they do something and then they kind of look at it, but they turn it a bit upside down or something, and then they build something new like that. This shit here is pretty wild. Like this little evening case that has like a large safety pin on top of it. There's another version of the same idea, like the same shape but expanded. And here the inspiration is World War I grenade holder thingies. You see it's the same thing in actually 3 different sizes. Here it is in silk with details taken from an Italian army alpine backpack. So you see they've taken the same shape and done it in different proportions and added different details, and you have all these fun results.
It's like they're always taking inspiration from themselves, from the past seasons.
To some degree, yes.
Yeah.
This is also something interesting, that at some point they start referring to their own work. Which is also, you know, when you have been doing a brand for like 10, 15 years, you start building like a language that you can revisit many times to create a different result, you know. But Helmut Lang is particularly repetitive when it comes to that. He's a designer who does the same thing again and again. And to me, this is also what makes it so funny to collect. The pieces look very, very similar to each other. Sometimes to the point that you're like, how did this brand survive this long? How did they keep making money? And this reveals to us a lot of information, not only about the designer and the way they worked, but also about the market and the way the market operated at the time. It was a time when ideas traveled slower. You could unpack an idea over many years, unlike today, where if you have a good idea, you really have to push it really fast, because it's very difficult to protect it from other people doing it.
Absolutely.
Too, you know?
I think it happens more than ever that people come up with the same ideas. Not that they know each other, but it just, I think like the world just kind of produces waves and everybody catches them. I think it's like more centralized also because of the internet and social media and everything. So everybody gets kind of the same ideas flow to them. It needs to go out as fast as possible so nobody else can do it before. Yeah, that's kind of the pace of today, which is really sad. I feel like at this time it was not really the case. Like,
it was much less so. There was of course a lot of competition between designers who's gonna bring out something first, but the tempo was completely different. The other thing that people maybe don't know is that everyone is welcome to come to the archive. This is a bit also like some shameless self-promotion, if you will, that we do offer appointments to fashion enthusiasts as well, people who might not have a direct connection to the industry yet, or they just like nice stuff and they're interested on the subject. And for those people, we offer like guided tours of the archive. We do this kind of thing where it's important for us that we share what's happening behind these kind of closed doors.
Okay Leute, wir sind wieder im Atelier und jetzt zeige ich euch, wie sich so eine Research-Tour auf die tatsächlichen Designs auswirkt. Wir haben hier eine Bomberjacke, die jetzt in der kommenden Kollektion kommen wird. Die hat hier eine wunderschöne Raffung, hier diese Cutout-Pockets. Und jetzt ein Element, was wir tatsächlich bei der Research-Tour gefunden haben, nämlich ihr habt es jetzt auch schon in dem Video gesehen, es hat hier diese Raglan-Shoulder, aber hier auch diesen Abnäher an der Schulter, genauso wie die D-Squared-Jacke. Also es hat tatsächlich genau dieselbe Schulterkonstruktion und ich glaube, wenn es jetzt aus Leder sein wird, dann wird der Effekt nochmal stärker sein, weil das macht wirklich was mit dem Shape. Das ist so eins der Elemente, die wir dann tatsächlich aus der Research Tour übernommen haben. Wie gesagt, es geht nicht darum, irgendwie Pieces zu finden, die einem gefallen und sie dann zu kopieren, sondern man nimmt einzelne Elemente und baut sie dann bei neuen Pieces ein und setzt sie in einen neuen Kontext. Okay Leute, ich hoffe, euch hat das Video gefallen. Ich würde gerne mehr Videos in die Richtung machen, zum ganzen Prozess von Inspiration bis zur fertigen Kollektion. Das heißt, wenn ihr diese Videos sehen wollt, dann schreibt es gerne in die Kommentare, damit ich Bescheid weiß. Und dann sehen wir uns beim nächsten Video wieder.